All right, y'all. So the Gekishin Squadra network test is upcoming in less than a week. And if you're not aware, this was Project Multi right before the official name announcement, things like this. And they're coming back with another network test just to not only test the servers, but get our feedback. And along with this, they've been tweeting things, basically hyping up this network test. From what it seems to be, anyways, and they're actually giving us information on some new characters that we're gonna see. Now, my expectation is that they may be doing character tweets daily from here on out, which would be really cool. And it seems like, again, on the 5th, they did do a total of 5 different tweets. So, with that in mind, I could see tomorrow, the 6th, we'll get another 5 tweets of 5 characters and things like that, all the way leading up to the 11th, basically when the network test would officially begin. So, if we go ahead and do that, I mean, that's one, again, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That could be about 30 characters, potentially 25, 30 characters. It depends, they sometimes they don't tweet the weekends, so again, we'll have to wait and see. Now the previous network test had a decent amount of characters as well, but it definitely wasn't near like a number of 25 or 30. It has been a few months though, so this is really exciting. But again, I really urge you guys to go ahead and try this network test as well, and just see what you think about the game. But we're going to be talking about the characters that are being introduced here, and again, really interesting. We're getting, like, the reason why I'm starting off with this guy, young body baby, is actually not a character I would ever expect to be playable in most Dragon Ball games, because he doesn't really do much. Like, and I feel like this is a type of game where it can allow characters like this to be playable, unlike, a traditional fighting game, or unlike maybe I don't know, just like most Dragon Ball games are fighters, pretty much, right? Maybe they're not traditional fighting games, more like arena fighting games, right? But you guys get the point. So seeing like Young Body Baby makes me really excited for the potential future characters in the game and how unique they could actually make a lot of these different characters and kits. But let's go ahead and we'll play this and just commentate on this just as an initial thing. And we can see right here, 18 is fighting the Trunks right there, and we actually had possessed 18. Then now we're finishing off Trunks and possessing him, which is really cool. Of course, it's only a certain amount of time that you have Trunks possessed, but that's still really interesting in that scenario where it's like, okay, you can take over other characters' bodies. This makes me think of maybe a Ginyu. What if Ginyu is a character that could switch different characters from each other? So, like, again, if you Ginyu and then the enemy team, I don't know, they have like a Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta, you're like, I'll take that, buddy. And you leave the enemy with the Ginyu character for the rest of the fight. That could be really interesting depending on how they work it. And this is where it's like, okay, they could actually do that. Well, I feel like in certain Dragon Ball games, you can't really potentially do that, right? So Baby Young Body is a tank character. And keep in mind, you can only have one tank character on the team. It is 2 attackers, 1 tank character, and then 1 technical character. The concept is that he uses possession of both enemy and ally heroes, which you did see he again had 18 possessed, which is the ally. Then he actually did possess the Trunks. Similarly survive on the front lines by using possession. So again, they will explain the skills just in basic right here. And it looks like he's also more of a long range character, which is definitely nice. Like he could like kind of zone out for a bit, push like enemies back from afar. And then with this, he's able to kind of like slowly zone in and then eventually deplete their HP, and once he swoops in, he'll be able to finish them off and take over their body, right? So you possess target enemy hero when you land a finisher. You can use some of their skills while they're possessed, but keep in mind that the possession effect ends when the target respawns or their HP is depleted. So like let's say again, if you're the target enemy hero, you get killed, then this guy's gone, right? Now it doesn't really like if we take a look here, is there a certain amount of HP we see Trunks regenerate with? Not really. It's just the HP you had with Baby. It looks like to me what it is. Now, Baby also looks like to gain some HP after that, right? Because he was not. Well, actually, no. That's the level of HP he was at. So, I guess they make you very weak in terms of the HP that you get when you possess enemy characters, which makes a lot of sense. And not that it really matters anyways, because again, when they respawn, which sometimes doesn't even take too long, it's going to be a thing of you're not going to be spending much time with that character anyways, right? But I think this is really cool. And then we're going to see sooner or later, yeah, again, you come out of that. This seems like it's going to be much more of a useful option, I think, in later battles when, at least later in the fights, when enemies are going to take quite a while to respawn, and then they actually have like a really good skill set, right? Like leveled up and everything. So the Finger Blitz Barrage unleashes an AoE attack in a targeted direction. Enemies hit will be forcibly moved, and you can move while using the skill. So you're actually able to push enemies back again, which again is pretty good for overall as a tank. Let's go ahead and continue to play this again. And we were able to see that again, you were able to move in the actual footage. So the range on this could get to be pretty good. I mean, this is like a pretty wide, good range to push these enemies back. So I think that's really interesting. Then we finish things off here with the Energy Explosion. Continuous AoE attack centered around yourself. You gain strike defense up, and then you apply movement speed down to enemies hit, which movement speed down is gonna be very good, right, in a game like this, especially again combining with other allies' attacks. Each time the attack hits enemy heroes, the cooldown of possession allies will decrease, and then you can move while using the skill, which again, this will allow you to possess some of your allies, right? Yeah, you can move while doing this. Okay, that's we'll see how strong the movement speed down is gonna be, but I mean, it's pretty like you can move while doing that. It's kind of crazy. You just keep them stunned, like movements, just like debuff like that, right? Possess a target ally. Apply steal life to the possessed hero. The HP will replenish over time, and you can use backup fire to attack enemies. The HP of the possessed ally will recover when the backup fire hits an enemy. So that's what this backup fire is. And so you can heal yourself by possessing your allies. And so I assume what happens is it says steal life. So I assume that's gonna basically you're gonna take away your allies' HP, recover your own, but then the ally recovers HP when these actually hit the enemy. Which again is an interesting kind of idea. And this is the super attack, the Revenge Blast. You receive additional HP depending on the number of enemy heroes hit, and then if the attack hits an enemy hero, the damage will increase the next time it's used. Okay. Oh, that's a lot of... Whoa, look at that HP. You could gain potentially. Batman Baby to me looks like he's gonna be pretty good. He has movement speed down. He has pretty good range. I really like the interesting possession mechanic. Again, I'm interested to see how effective this could be, and you know what kind of different combinations you could have with this. Really something I have to wait and see. The enemy possession could be also quite good again, especially later on in the fight, and considering that you're able to freeze the enemy like this, you can get, I think, a lot of like combo KOs with this. So I like what I'm seeing there with this young body baby. Then we actually do have the first form Frieza, which again we do know from the trailer he was actually working with Zarbon and Dodoria. Now Zarbon and Dodoria being minions are really interesting in itself, and they're actually also shooting with Frieza at the same time. This is my first time actually viewing this gameplay. It's been out all day, but this is like my kind of first general reaction to things. Again, we won't know for sure how these characters are gonna truly operate until they're in game and we can actually try them out, but again, I'm liking the at least the concept for baby here. Now Frieza, I understand, I believe he's a technical, so him being a technical character, yeah, right here, he moves around the battlefield with Zarbon and Dodoria. Command both of them strategically to dominate the map. And it seems like on his basic like left click blasts, he is just gonna like they're gonna attack with you at the same time, I assume. So his passive skill increases movement speed during high speed flights, prevents flight from being interrupted by attack. Effect will expire after being hit by an attack, but this effect can be used again after a certain amount of time. So yeah, he okay. So he gets hit by an attack, but he doesn't get staggered. I think this could be useful when you're trying to go to like some of the god of destructions, and you know your enemies are trying to stop you, and you're trying to, okay, let's all team up on the god of destructions right there, could be really good. Or again, if you're trying to escape a scenario, will also be very, very useful. As long as you're able to cast the flight, they're not actually able to stop you, even if they use a long range attack. So, like again, we were talking about Baby earlier. Baby has that moving long range attack that's actually not gonna stagger this Frieza, which will be good. Or you know, again, long range characters in general, like Piccolo or that Baby at the same time. I do like that. Show them Zarbon. Position Zarbon, who attacks enemies in the area with an energy blast like this. And then prioritizing targets in the middle of rush attacks. When his energy blast hits an enemy hero, it applies strike defense down. So if you're doing the rush attack, he actually does have a defense debuff with this. So this will allow, again, just in general, for you to do some extra damage, right? And then use the skill again to make Zarbon leave the position. So he just stays there, continuing to shoot the energy blast until you call him back. Okay. I wonder if there's any like cooldown or not, like how long the cooldown for this is going to be. Position Dodoria, who will attack enemies with the lunge attack. Again, he hits them so that they're forcibly moved. So he just puts them back. And he's just gonna keep doing that right there. You know, Frieza could be really good at like general map control by placing these two very effectively. Could be so good, especially if again I'm thinking about this guy in like when you're trying to attack the god of destructions of the enemy, you place a Doria in a way where, okay, let's say where this is the god of destruction enemy, and then or let's say you're in the middle here, like I don't know how to explain it. Frieza's right here in the middle, and then the god of destruction are these guys, right? Let's pretend. And then enemies are coming in from this way, like to the right side. You position the Doria this way, and you prevent them from actually getting into there as easily. So then you'll have less times of like having to deal with some of the enemies potentially. I think I'm sure there's so many more creative options you can come up for that, but Imperial Defense, you grant yourself and ally heroes movement speed up. Oh, but that's a pretty big range too. And then create an area that raises Zarbon and Dodoria's attack speed. If ally heroes Zarbon or Dodoria are nearby when the skill is activated, the effect will last longer. So I wonder if the effect lasts longer, like depending on how many, like, is it like, oh, if Zarbon or Dodoria there, you get this much, and then if one ally hero is that much? Or is it like, with one ally hero, you get this much, two, you get this much, three, you get this much? Like, I wonder how far into effect that goes, but I do like this for sure, especially if it's like you're trying to group together and make a push. I think obviously that's intended for the most part, or just escaping in general. So it seems like Frieza is going to be really good for escaping or just pushing in. So okay, and yeah, so he actually this is so funny. Look how fast he does that. Okay, the supernova enormous energy blast. Charging the attack increases the size, so you can actually charge the size of it. Okay, it's like you can see Frieza holds it for longer. That's a crazy range. Okay, like even for like number skills, I feel like this is like one of the largest ranges I've seen in the game. All enemies will be affected with all attack down. I'll take that for sure. Okay, so he has some pretty good debuffs, but he seems like a very interesting disrupt character at the same time. I like what I see with Frieza. I feel like, yeah, I think Frieza is going to be a good technical. He's not, I guess the one thing is that he's not really like healing allies. He's just helping you escape. I really did like Majin Buu with his healing. I found to be really, really good. Majin Buu was very, very good at initial release, but I mean, depending on the team comp, you might not even need it, and that's where it could be really interesting, the amount of different combinations we could potentially see in the game. I'm very excited for. So yeah, and then again, we did have Super Saiyan Goku. I'm not really gonna go over these guys like much at all. We kind of, these guys were in the original beta, so we have, or I keep saying beta, but it's an original network test, so we know how these guys work. Not really a big deal. I'm not sure if anything really has changed from these guys. Goku, I think, was just generally good. Piccolo was, he had like more of his niche for the Great Ape, I feel like, and I think Piccolo could be good in certain situations, but wasn't like, he was fun to use, but I'm not gonna say like he was probably like the best, like one of the better characters in the game. And then Zamasu was obviously very, very impressive. So we'll see what changes they may have made to Zamasu here. With the actual demos over. This is, again, all the skills and everything look to be pretty much the exact same. And we won't know the actual changes until we're actually able to see the exact stats here. I just want to show this because there's so many manga references in this game. We see Zamasu obviously here. Oh, okay, interesting. It's like the Goku Black kind of pose, I guess, in that sense. And then Zamasu's doing the same. So there's some manga references in the game, which is pretty cool. But yeah, so let me know what you guys are thinking about, Baby and Frieza. I like what I'm seeing. And hopefully, again, they'll be really fun. They look really fun to me. And I'll cover more of these characters as they come out. But appreciate y'all for watching, and I'll catch you guys next time.